On page 30 here, we're going to start up at the top and do a little bit of a warm-up. And then after we do our warm-up, we will fill in this box to see, as we move through the problems that we're going to do today and tomorrow and the next day, what are we going to look for in every single problem that we come to. So the first thing, let's do a quick little warm-up. If you're watching this as a video, you can pause and try to do the problems on your own. Otherwise, let's just get right to it. So in a two-step equation, once we get to, an equation with variables on both sides, which is what this whole standard is about, once we get to this point, we ask ourselves which one of these x's is smaller. So this 4x is smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite. So right here I'm asking which x is smaller, and I do the opposite. So what I'm going to do is subtract 4x from both sides. Because it's a positive 4x, I'm going to minus 4x. That ends up with a 1x, and hopefully by now we're okay with the fact that if I have a 1x, I don't actually need to write the 1. I can just write x. And then I'll bring down my 18. Now, when I get to this point, I'm ready to, on the side of the x, I'm ready to undo this addition number. So I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. So bring down a 1x, or just an x, and 18 minus 11 is 7. So here you could divide both sides by 1, but you really don't need to, and x would just be 7. Okay, let's flip into this problem, and I'm going to ask again which one is smaller. Well, this time we actually have a negative number, and we've discussed the last couple of days that anytime you have a negative number, the negative number is always going to be the smaller one. So we're going to do the opposite of that, negative 7x. To move that over to the other side. Bring this 9 down. 3 and 7 is 10. Now, right here, we might want to get rid of this 9, but that's not on the side of the x, or the a in this case. Oops, this is plus. Sorry. So we're going to minus the 49 from both sides to get it away from the a. So 9 minus 49 is negative 40. And then we're going to divide by 10. And my a value is negative 4. Okay, so as we move through these problems, we're going to kick it up a notch. We're going to add an extra step in here. But what we're going to be looking for is parentheses first. If you see a problem with parentheses, you need to deal with those parentheses first and foremost. So what are we going to do? We're going to distribute. Okay, well, the problem that we're going to do today does not have parentheses. So today we don't have to worry about that parentheses part. But we do have to worry about if there are look for 2 x's or 2 numbers on the same side of the equals. And what are we going to do if we see that? Well, that is when we are going to combine like terms. And that's what we're focusing on today. Once we've combined like terms, then we're going to deal with what we just did on our 2 warm-up problems. So we just did We asked which x is smaller, so we looked for x's on both sides. And we undo the smaller of the two. And then what did we do at the end on the x side? We look for adding and subtracting on x side. And what do? We undo it. Okay, I wrote that down kind of quick, so I'll give you a second to copy that down. Okay, so what we're doing today is we're really focusing on this step right here, where we're going to have two x's or two numbers on the same side, and we're going to combine. Those are our like terms, which is going to get a little bit confusing or a little bit complicated because of the fact that x, we have this x on both sides, or today we have two x's on the same side. So that's why it gets a little bit confusing in our head. And like, which one am I supposed to do first? Which one? That's why I gave you this kind of step-by-step process here. Okay, I'll draw my line. Do you see parentheses? No. So we're not worried about this one today. Right here, two x's on the same side. So over here on the left, I've got my 3x and my 2x, and I can put those together. 3x and 2x is 5x. And then continue with my 4x plus 10. And now I'm right back to where I was at the beginning of class today. And I'm ready to ask you, because I have an x on both sides, I'm ready to ask you which one is smaller so I can undo it. So my 4x is smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite of 4x by going minus 4x to both sides. So that's going to be 1x minus 7 equals 10. And now I'm ready to look for addition and subtraction on the x side, which is this minus 7, and I'm going to undo it. So we're going to go plus 7, and again, remember this 1 doesn't have to be there, so I can just write x if I want. 10 and 7 is 17. Okay, let's practice that again, and then we're headed right to the homework. So let's drop down this line. Because that last problem that we did, we were looking for two x's that are on the same side. This problem does have two x's. It has an x right here, and it has an x right here. But they are not on the same side. So this time, I am not putting these x's together. Instead, on this side over here, I don't have two x's, I have two numbers. So I have a negative 6 and I have a positive 10. Those two numbers are on the same side, so I can put them together. Okay, don't write anything down, just negative 6 plus 10 is 4. Bring down my plus 9x, and then recopy over here. I'm going to minus my smaller x, so this one's smaller, so minus 7. I still have a negative 12. I still have a 4. And I still have a 2x. Okay, now I'm ready for the point where I'm looking for adding or subtracting on the side of the x. That's over here on the side of the x. I have this 4 that I need to get rid of. It's positive, so I'll subtract. So that's negative 16, and then a 2. And then I'll divide by 2. So x equals negative 8. Oops, sorry. There we go. So there are 6 problems here at the bottom. It's that page 30 on Go Formative. You can enter your answers onto Go Formative to see if you're doing the problems correctly or not. And if you're not doing the problems correctly, make sure you contact me, or make sure that you listen and ask for help, or listen for me to give directions there.